Master yourself, and you will master your life. Imagine for a moment, you're seeking to live with more clarity, strength, and serenity, but at times it feels like there's no true guide, no one who has walked a similar path. What if I told you that centuries ago there lived a man who understood that true philosophy isn't found in dusty books, but in decisions, actions, and the small steps we take each day? This man is Miyamoto Musashi, a legendary samurai who lived in Japan in the late 16th century. Like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, he believed that the power to transform our lives comes from within. Musashi was no armchair philosopher. He was a philosopher of practice. He understood that ideas are empty without action, and that true self-mastery doesn't happen in theory, but in how we face our own challenges and ambitions, in staying calm through difficulties, and in staying determined when faced with obstacles. Like the Stoics, Musashi knew the world can be chaotic, yet he believed we are capable of finding our own center. Through his life, he shows us that there's no point in wanting to change what we can't control. He became a master of shaping himself, of adapting without straying from who he truly was. Perhaps one of the most powerful lessons he leaves us is this: life will challenge us, but our strength lies in learning to shape ourselves without breaking. So, I invite you to join us on this journey. Let's explore not only what Musashi believed, but how he lived each of these principles. Because, like us, he was looking for something beyond victory over others. He wanted to overcome his own limitations, to grow and strengthen himself each day, with each challenge. For many of us, the search for inner strength and peace can feel distant, as though it's reserved for a select few. But if Musashi and the Stoic philosophers taught us anything, it's that this journey isn't out of reach. It begins with a single step and a daily choice. And that step is discipline. Now you may wonder, why is discipline so fundamental? Because it's what shapes character, provides clarity amid doubt, and allows us to walk a path without losing our way. Musashi didn't view discipline as a simple rule of conduct. He saw it as the foundation for something much greater. Like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, he understood that discipline is the starting point for true serenity and virtue in its purest form. Personal discipline as the foundation for virtue and serenity. Musashi lived in a turbulent time where every decision, every movement could mean life or death. To him, discipline wasn't a restriction, it was freedom. A freedom born from self-mastery, the ability to stay grounded while the world around him tried to throw him off course. He understood, as the Stoics did, that discipline is the path to virtue and a life guided by reason. In Stoicism, discipline is more than an admirable quality. It's the pillar that supports virtue. By training the mind and body not to be swayed by desires or distractions, we cultivate apatheia, a state of imperturbability, an unshakable calm that allows us to act with clarity, regardless of what surrounds us. It's the practice of focusing on what is within our control and freeing ourselves from the influence of external events, letting go of the need to control what doesn't depend on us. And you can bring this into your own life practically. Discipline can start in simple areas: a regular wake-up time, a commitment to a daily goal, the conscious choice to ignore what doesn't contribute to your growth. It's these small actions that build inner serenity. By consciously choosing what we do and don't do, we're shaping our character and moving closer to our best self. So, discipline isn't a limitation, it's a liberation. It allows us to be who we really are, without interference, without straying from our goals. And every time we apply it, we're one step closer to the peace and strength we seek. Now that we understand discipline as a foundation, an inevitable question arises: how do we handle emotional highs and lows? After all, life isn't all calm days and situations we can control. This is where mental strength and emotional mastery become essential, continuing the teachings of Musashi and the Stoics. Inner peace is born from control over our reactions, not over events. Mental strength and emotional control, focused on apatheia. For Musashi and the great Stoic thinkers, a life of strength and purpose is built on the ability to keep the mind calm, regardless of what's happening around us. This is the well-known apatheia, a state of imperturbability, where our decisions and actions are not driven by emotional impulses, but by a clear, centered mind. For the Stoics, apatheia means not being dominated by passions. And for Musashi, this state is achieved through the practice of mushin, the empty mind, free from emotional interference. Imagine for a moment, you're facing a challenging situation, something that would typically throw anyone off balance. But instead of acting impulsively, or letting fear, anger, or anxiety guide your response, you pause. Your focus is steady, and your body is in harmony with your mind. This is the state of mushin, where you act with full presence, without being swayed by an emotional roller coaster. Musashi shows us that when we train the mind to be at peace and trust in our preparation, we're ready to respond to whatever comes with clarity and courage. This is one of the secrets to powerful mental strength. Accepting that while we can't control everything around us, we do have control over how we choose to respond. Imagine the freedom that comes from knowing that neither fear, nor pride, nor external worries can take you away from your center. Musashi wasn't indifferent to challenges. He simply chose how to respond to each one with a calm that only comes from knowing the value of self-mastery. And this strength, this imperturbability, is within our reach too. We can begin by observing our emotions with greater clarity, questioning what truly deserves a reaction. We can train ourselves not to react automatically, to seek inner silence before making any decision. When we set aside emotional distractions, our focus becomes a powerful tool. And by cultivating this calm, we come closer to the serenity we value so much, a serenity that isn't just an idea but a practice. Like Musashi and the Stoics, we can discover that true strength isn't in the absence of challenges, but in how we choose to face them. As we continue this journey of self-mastery, we see that Musashi, like the Stoics, found inspiration in the world around him to guide his actions. He observed nature and recognized in the elements, earth, water, fire, wind, and void, not only life forces, but also pathways to strategy and wisdom. Musashi, a natural strategist, saw in these elements powerful metaphors for gaining control over oneself and one's life circumstances. If we look closely at these elements, we can see that they also reflect the deep teachings of Stoicism. In a way, they symbolize the ideals we aim to achieve in our Stoic practice. So let's explore how each of these elements can become a practical tool for strengthening our self-control and inner peace. Earth, stability and commitment to values. Imagine solid ground beneath your feet. Earth represents our principles and stability. In Stoicism, our values are the anchors that keep us grounded, even when the world around us feels chaotic. Earth reminds us of the importance of having a solid foundation, who we are, what we believe, and what we're willing to stand up for. With this commitment, we find the strength to act according to these values, without being swayed by momentary impulses. Water, adaptability and acceptance of change. Water flows, adapts, and finds alternative paths. For Stoics, embracing the natural flow of events is essential. When we cultivate flexibility, we're ready to adapt to change, recognizing that what lies beyond our control must be accepted, and that it's our response that truly matters. Being like water is accepting reality without resistance, finding ways to move forward, adjusting as needed, without losing focus. Fire, decisive action and courage to act with virtue. Fire represents action, the energy to act with courage and virtue. The Stoics teach us to act without hesitation when the right moment arises. To be like fire is to have the courage to make quick ethical decisions, to not let fear hold us back. Musashi understood that some opportunities appear and vanish like sparks. When we act in alignment with our principles, we ignite our own light, radiating determination and purpose. Wind, observation and mindfulness of the present. Like the wind, observation is subtle yet powerful. Wind symbolizes attention to the present and the surrounding context, what the Stoics call prosos, or full presence. The wind teaches us to stay aware, to observe the dynamics around us, the intentions of others, and the opportunities that arise. Musashi knew that a good strategist is also a keen observer, one who understands the environment before acting. Void, intuition and wisdom based on experience. The final element, void, represents intuition. In Stoicism, this void can be seen as the wisdom we gain from practicing philosophy and self-knowledge. It's the quiet voice that emerges from experience, guiding us even when we don't have all the data. Trusting in the void is trusting in judgment built over years of practice and reflection, letting our accumulated knowledge guide us through complex situations. These elements aren't just abstract concepts, they're practical strategies we can apply in our lives. We can ground ourselves like the earth, flow like water, act like fire, observe like the wind, and trust in the void so that each decision and action is made with purpose and wisdom. When put into practice, these 5 paths become a Stoic compass. They guide us to live with more presence, more intention, and a greater alignment with our principles. On the journey to self-mastery, one of the great lessons that both Musashi and the Stoics teach us is the power that lies in simplicity. In a world that urges us to accumulate, to want more, and to constantly seek the new, Musashi chose the opposite. He opted for a minimalist life, carrying only what he truly needed in both objects and ideas. And this is a core principle for those seeking Stoic self-sufficiency. Simplicity and minimalism as a form of Stoic self-sufficiency. In Stoicism, simplicity is more than a lifestyle. It's a path to true freedom. The less we cling to external things, the more internal independence we gain. Musashi, in his pursuit of mastery, saw material possessions and excessive desires as distractions. Like the great Stoic masters, he understood that the less we own, the less we are owned. By eliminating the superfluous, we come closer to what truly matters: peace, focus, and purpose. We can think of this practice as a kind of deep cleaning, but not just of what's around us. It's a cleansing that starts within. The Stoics believed that simplicity frees us, not because it deprives us of something, but because it connects us to the essential. And what is essential? That which keeps us steady and focused, that which supports our true growth. When you choose not to depend on possessions, when you're content with enough, you discover that true abundance lies in lightness. Musashi exemplified this freedom by focusing on honing his skills rather than accumulating possessions. He lived as a detached warrior, needing neither status nor wealth. This is something we can bring into our own lives in a practical way. Ask yourself, what do you truly need to live well? What things or even ideas are simply taking up space without adding value? By choosing what we keep in our lives, we're choosing what truly matters, and through this, we gain powerful clarity. This is the invitation of Stoic simplicity. Reduce the excess, embrace the essential, and recognize that freedom arises not from what we accumulate, but from who we are. Musashi showed us that by cultivating detachment, we become self-sufficient. The focus born from this allows us to act with purpose, follow our values, and find peace in a world that is often chaotic. May we bring this practice into our daily lives. Assess what no longer serves you and make space for what truly matters. After all, in simplicity, we find the freedom we seek, a freedom that brings us closer to our essence, that readies us to live fully and authentically. As we near the end of this journey with Musashi, embracing the process of self-mastery. As we come to the end of this journey with Musashi, we're reminded of a truth that he, like the Stoics, understood deeply. Self-mastery is not a destination we reach, but a continuous practice. There's no finish line, no trophy. There's only the daily quest to be a little better than we were yesterday. For Musashi and the Stoic philosophers, each day brings new challenges and learning opportunities. Personal progress doesn't come in great leaps. It's built patiently, through small actions that slowly shape our character and fortify our mind. This path of consistency and dedication is what allows us, over time, to witness our own growth. And if there's one thing we inevitably encounter on this path, it's obstacles. Stoicism teaches us the concept of amor fati, to love fate, to embrace hardships as essential parts of our evolution. When we face each difficulty as an opportunity to become stronger, more resilient and wiser, we find a peace and purpose that only those who live consciously can experience. Musashi never believed he had achieved perfection. He understood that true mastery lies in always learning, always growing. This is the essence of self-mastery, a commitment to the process, an acceptance that failures are part of it, and a trust that each step matters. When we adopt this mindset, we stop demanding perfection from ourselves and start valuing progress. So may we move forward with this vision. May we commit each day to the path of self-mastery, not as a quest for perfection, but as a way to become better. Remember, it's in the continuous effort in showing up daily that we cultivate the Stoic strength we seek. Because in the end, it's this journey that leads us to a life of purpose, courage and serenity, embracing who we are and celebrating each step forward. May we, like Musashi, be warriors in our own lives, strong and serene, always seeking to grow and ready for whatever fate may bring.